retinol palmitate. That's the molecule inside a $78 night repair serum millions of women smooth on before bed. It's not retinol. It's a weaker ester, several conversions away from the molecule that actually does anything to a wrinkle. They put repair on the label and bet everything on you never flipping the box. 8 retinol products on this list made calculated, board-approved decisions about what goes on your face every night. But we didn't do all this research to leave you stranded. There are still great retinol products that genuinely deliver. Stick with me for those. This one's full of surprises. What do you think the 24 in Retinol 24 stands for? 24% concentration? 24 hours of retinol activity? It's a hydration claim. 24 hours of moisture. That's the number doing all the heavy lifting on that shelf. And most women never question it. Now flip the jar. Retinol propionate, a weaker ester several conversion steps away from the retinol that actually does anything, sits higher on the ingredient list than the retinol itself. The understudy gets more stage time than the lead, and Olay never disclosed a concentration for either one. You're flying blind on a product that built its entire pitch around a moisture test. Here's what's actually improving your skin when this product works at all. Niacinamide, a legitimately effective ingredient that costs a fraction of what you're paying for the retinol branding on the front of the box. They built the formula around niacinamide and dressed it up in retinol language because niacinamide 24 doesn't exactly fly off the shelf. You bought a hydration cream. They just forgot to tell you. ROC introduced retinol to skincare in the 1950s. They pioneered it. They built their entire reputation on being the pharmacy-grade retinol your dermatologist quietly recommended. That reputation was earned. Here's what that legacy brand puts in the jar now. Retinol, glycolic acid, citric acid, and vitamin C all in the same formula. That's not a night cream. That's a sensitization cocktail. Dermatologists have said publicly that layering retinol with glycolic acid is one of the most common mistakes their patients make. ROC went ahead and pre-mixed the mistake for you. The company changed hands. Private equity acquired the brand. Same playbook you've seen 100 times. Buy the legacy, trim the innovation budget, let the name carry the weight. When customers ask for the retinol percentage, ROC's official answer is that it's proprietary information. Proprietary, that's the word you use when the number would embarrass you. The packaging outlasted the formulation. If your barrier is already thinning, if your skin is already reactive, you just walked into the highest irritation risk on this entire list. The orange box. You know the one. Neutrogena Rapid Wrinkle Repair. $19 at CVS, sitting on the bottom shelf next to the face wash you've trusted for decades. Here's what's inside. Retinol listed below fragrance on the ingredient list. Let that sit for a second. In INC I order. That means the fragrance is present at a higher concentration than the retinol. The ingredient you bought this product for, the one printed in capital letters next to the word rapid, is present in a smaller amount than the thing they added to make it smell like a spa. Accelerated Retinol SA is Neutrogena's proprietary system. They market it as their highest concentration. They have never once disclosed what that concentration actually is. Independent estimates put it below 0.1%. You can't adjust what you can't measure. You're pressing fragrance and retinol into your skin every night with no idea how much of either one is touching your face. This is the retinol most women start with, and it's the reason most women believe retinol doesn't work. The blue bottle, the gold dropper, the nightly ritual you watched your mother do, or the woman at the department store counter who made it look like religion. $78. You hold it up to the light and you feel like you're investing in your skin. Here's what's actually inside. Not retinol, retinol palmitate, a weaker ester that needs to convert multiple times before it becomes anything your skin can use. And it's not even the star of the formula. Check the ingredient list. Retinol palmitate sits buried after bifida ferment lysate, after caffeine, after a parade of botanical extracts. The caffeine has a bigger role than the retinoid. Let that land. What advanced night repair actually is, and this part they'll never print on the box, is an antioxidant and hydration serum. A decent one, honestly. But calling it a retinol product is like calling a salad a steak because someone waved a piece of beef over it on the way to the table. They're still selling the 1982 Reputation at a 2026 price. Not great, SD. Here's something that should make you uncomfortable. This $24 serum at Target prints its retinol concentration right on the box. 0.3% pure retinol. Not an ester, not a proprietary blend, a real number. That makes it more honest than almost everything else on this list. So why is it here? Because Derm Intensives is a brand name, not a clinical designation. L'Oreal chose it knowing you'd hear dermatologist when you read it. Under Mocre, they don't have to prove this serum reduces a single wrinkle, only that it won't hurt you. The design does the rest. White tube, clean lines, medical font. That's marketing wearing a lab coat. Here's the trap. If you've never tolerated a lower strength retinol, jumping in at 0.3%, because the box whispers derm is how you end up quitting retinoids altogether. If this product can print a percentage on the box, it raises one uncomfortable question about every brand that chose not to. What are they hiding? Let's stop here because there's a name in this list you need to sit with, L'Oreal, the same L'Oreal we just called out at number 4. That company also owns CeraVe, La Roche-Posay, and SkinCeuticals. The $20 retinol at Target and the $93 retinol at Drugstore come from the same parent company. Same chemists, same building, different labels, different prices. Now here's the sentence underneath all of it. The FDA does not care if your retinol cream works. Under MoCRA, companies must prove safety. They do not have to prove that a single wrinkle improved. Every cosmetic retinol on this list never had to demonstrate it does what the box implies. The only retinoid required to prove it works is Differin, because it's not a cosmetic, it's a drug. $85, 6.22% retinoid blend. That number is on the box, on the Sephora page, in the influencer captions. You unscrew the dropper, and the oil feels expensive, golden, viscous, the kind of texture that whispers clinical strength while it slides onto your fingertip. Here's the math they're hoping you never do. That 6% counts everything. Retinol, retinol palmitate, hydroxypinocolone retinoate, all lumped together. The weaker esters, the stronger ones, the ones that barely convert, added up like a student padding a resume with hobbies. The retinol itself is a fraction of that headline number, but a fraction of 6% doesn't justify $85. So they went with the bigger number. Then there are the reviews. The FTC investigated Sunday Riley after it surfaced that the company had been directing employees to write fake 5-star reviews on Sephora. The CEO herself wrote the email. Create fake accounts, use a VPN, always leave 5 stars, dislike every negative review until it gets removed, settled with no fine. Still selling at Sephora. The brand that faked its credibility is selling you inflated math. Ask a dermatologist off the record what concentration of retinol is most likely to cause significant barrier disruption. The answer is 1%. Redness, peeling, the kind of raw, tight feeling where your skin burns when you smile. Drunk Elephant put that in a $74 cream at Sephora and marketed it as clean. Clean. That's the word they chose. Here's what happens next. Your barrier breaks down, your skin screams, and Drunk Elephant conveniently sells you Lala Retro Cream for $60 to repair the damage their other product just caused. $134 for the full cycle. Break your face and fix it. That's not a side effect, that's a revenue stream. Shiseido saw that funnel and paid $845 million for it. They didn't buy a skincare philosophy. They bought a brand that could sell a $74 retinol and a $60 repair cream to the same customer in the same Sephora bag. Drunk Elephant sells you the burn and the bandage. That's not skincare. That's a business plan with a pastel logo and a clean label 68%, that's the lab failure rate. In one independent analysis, up to 68% of products marketed as bakuchiol or plant retinol contained no detectable bakuchiol or levels so far below the therapeutic dose that they were cosmetic decoration in a $90 bottle. Here's the cruel part. Bakuchiol has real science. A randomized controlled trial published in the British Journal of Dermatology found that 0.5% bakuchiol applied twice daily improved wrinkles comparably to retinol. That study is solid, and the industry took it, printed it on marketing decks, waved it at influencers, and left the ingredient out of the bottles. They kept the study, they just didn't keep the molecule. Look at the labels. Tatcha's retinol alternative, $68 at Sephora. No disclosed bakuchiol percentage, no vitamin A derivative in the ingredient list. Beautiful packaging though. Now feel this one. The consumers reaching hardest for bakuchiol are pregnant women told correctly to avoid retinoids, searching for something safe, willing to pay for peace of mind. 68% of the time they're paying for carrier oil with a clinical trial on the box. Every retinol brand on this list had the option to publish clinical data on their specific product. La Roche-Posay is one of the few that actually did it. A clinical study on this serum, this formula, showed visible improvement in wrinkle depth in 4 weeks with continued gains at 8. Not retinol generally works. This product, tested and published, $34 at Ulta. The formula pairs retinol with niacinamide, one of the pairings dermatologists actually endorse rather than warn you about. Minor flaw? There's alcohol denat in the formula. Not perfect. But a brand that publishes its data beats a brand that publishes nothing every single time. $8.60 at Ulta, 8 ingredients. Retinol 0.5% printed right on the label. Not buried, not euphemized, not calculated from a blend of esters and wishful thinking. You unscrew the dropper, and what comes out looks like olive oil. Golden, thin, no fragrance, no pretense. That's the product. That's all of it. An $8 bottle with 8 ingredients just made a $78 bottle with 40 ingredients look like exactly what it is, a marketing project with a dropper. Fair warning, 0.5% is strong. If your skin is sensitive, this is not your entry point. The Ordinary tells you so themselves. What if the most effective retinoid in this entire video was sitting on the acne shelf at Target for $13? Differin is not a cosmetic. It is an FDA-approved over-the-counter drug. It had to go through clinical trials. It had to prove it works under federal oversight. Every cosmetic retinol on this list was never required to do that. Not one. Prescription only until 2016, now available for the price of a Sephora lip gloss. The jar is ugly. The science isn't. Drug strength means dryness, peeling, and mandatory daily sunscreen. A $13 tube that proved it works just outperformed an entire aisle that never had to. You now know something most women standing in the skincare aisle right now don't. Every cosmetic retinol on that shelf never had to prove it does what the label implies. Once you understand that, the entire pricing structure collapses and you stop being a target. Tonight, flip the box of whatever retinol is sitting on your nightstand. Read the ingredient list, see where the retinol actually falls, and whether they even told you how much is inside. That one skill works on every shelf in every store for the rest of your life. Subscribe if you want the rest of what this industry hopes you never decode.